Hi, I'm Eve from Sanctum with Eve, and there are two pivotal moments in my life that brought me closer to alignment with my soul's purpose and how to be in the world in a way that I preferred. My second awakening came about 5 years later. Well, I had that epiphany the day that I saw the young man buying vegetables during acts of war and settled on the idea of serenity. I worked to build that. And one of the ways that I did this as a teacher at the time was to look at how do you build resilience. And I went through a lot of different academic content, a lot of different personal stories, biographies. And the one that really struck me was Bethany Hamilton and her resilience after getting bitten by a shark, her willingness to get back into the water, and the steps that it took, the different stages of grief that she went through in order to achieve what she has achieved is miraculous. When I looked at Soul Surfer, the movie, one of the things I've noticed that there were these different steps that she went through. Along with the research that I read at the time, I was able to identify a certain series of steps that you can go to build your resilience. And that was something that I taught in schools around Ukraine, working with teachers and working with students. What I didn't realize I was doing at the time was I was internalizing the steps of resilience so that later I moved to Hong Kong. I was really, really struggling. And it came to a point where I felt like I had a choice. The choice was to get better, or the choice was to end it. And I didn't want to end it. And I reached out to a therapist and I began the work of coming back into myself. That work included sound, which was one of the few things that I was able to use that allowed me to see the light within. It cut through all of the layers of grief, all of the darkness that I perceived around me. And it helped me to find the light within and to eventually pull back all of the darkness, and so that the light shone brightly from within. Reiki assisted with that. It was actually three things that I found that really helped me to recover during this time period. Of course, the therapy, so maybe that's four. It was therapy, Reiki, sound, and yoga. So I did several teacher trainings during this time period. And all of that connected in a way that enabled me to come back to myself, to develop my inner sanctum within, and begin my journey back to the radiant self. It's taken many, many years. And the work has been both rewarding, dynamic, interesting, as well as frustrating. So there's been a lot of stops and starts. And how this is related to Soul Surfer and what I brought up in the beginning is one of the things that I realized when I was doing the work is even at my darkest moments, my subconscious mind knew the steps to take to bring me out of the pain that I was in. It was an extraordinary amount of suffering and pain. And I took those steps without even realizing it. For example, I would enroll in an art class, or I would try to write. I would try different aspects of activity or something else that would help to jar me in a comfortable way. I suppose jar isn't the right word, but sometimes I did need to be jarred. I needed to connect again with my creativity. And that was the easiest, simplest thing from drawing to writing. That was something that I did without recognizing what I was doing. I didn't understand at the time that I was practicing the skills that I had taught about coming back to yourself and building your resilience again, until I was in a state and a mindset that felt good and comfortable. And I was able to look back and go, oh my God, that's what I was doing. How incredible. So I gifted myself this training while I also taught it to others. And that is how I came to this path. And the path has been extraordinary. And it has been full of ups and downs, valleys as well as peaks. And I can't not do it because that inner light, that connection to myself, it feels so good. It feels like full alignment. It feels like the radiance of all that you can be. And I can see the continual work that there is to do and the practice that will take me there. And that is so exciting. It's just a state of expansiveness and joy. I'm not saying that I'm not sometimes feeling anxiety and stress. Of course, that comes in as well. But this excitement to be alive, to be present, to be sitting outside, to get up every morning at the same time to take my dog for a walk and go, wow, this is what it looks like today. How incredible, how lucky I am to be alive at this moment in time is such a different state than when I first began this work all those years ago.